في iTech هذا الأسبوع حاضنة رانواي بسان فرانسيسكو للشركات الناشئة عالمية. سيجفوكس شبكة خاصة بإنترنت الأشياء وبتكلفة أقل.
Matt Waller's Managing Director at Runway. Yes. We're happy having you on iTech Show.
Thank you.
And thanks for having us here at your place.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank
Glad
you.
to have you here. Yeah.
Runway is a very well-known incubator in San Francisco. You're in the middle of other incubators and tech companies from the same ecosystem. Mm-hmm. How would you like at the beginning to introduce Runway as a special? What makes you different than the others?
Yeah. So Runway has over 200 people that are working out of here, 80 different companies across a variety of verticals. And we have half of them are business to business, half of them are business to consumer. Mm-hmm. The biggest differentiation between Runway is that we're an open community. So this is not just a place where you can go and you can work out of. This is a community. We're not going to kick you out after 3 months. We're going to continue to provide services for you until you reach your next level of funding and you become successful.
And what do you usually offer in general?
Yeah, so in addition to having a place to work, we have mentors that will help you with things like, what is your PR strategy? How do you create a very compelling pitch deck? Things like if you want to understand how to incorporate, if you want to understand what are liquidation preferences, for example, when you're looking at a term sheet. This is all advice that we can give you. Mm-hmm. We put on events almost on a nightly basis across a variety of different interesting areas. There's virtual reality, there's augmented reality. EdTech is a big one for us. We're supporting educational technology. We work with major corporations such as Lenovo, ADT, KDDI in Japan. We work with corporations like Fujitsu to help them understand the lean startup methodology. What are people thinking about when they're in Silicon Valley? And we incorporate that all into the Runway ecosystem.
Interesting. And you have a very nice space.
Thank you.
And we're happy to have a look at the space and talk more about Runway.
Sounds good.
So here at Runway, you have different programs, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What are the main ones?
So there are 4 main areas that we're very interested in. First one is artificial intelligence. The next one is robotics. After that, we have fintech, and then we have edtech. Mm-hmm. So in the areas of artificial intelligence and robotics, we work with a lot of major corporations, as I mentioned. And the major corporations right now are very, very interested in artificial intelligence, using neural networks, figuring out we have all this data, now how do we contextualize it? How do we humanize it? How do we draw insights from it? And so we have a number of teams that are in here that are doing that.
And what are the criteria for Runway to get a startup here?
Right, so you have to have a company, you can't just have an idea, mm-hmm. And also you have to have a little bit of traction. So are you going out in the marketplace? Do you have initial customers? Even if you haven't sold anything yet, do you have commitments from them?
Interesting. What's remarkable here at Runway, the diversity. I've been here a couple of times. I met many of your startups. They're coming from different parts of the world.
Right.
So is it on purpose? It happens like this? Is it part of your mission?
It's a little of both. We are an international group of people. The people on our team come from all over the world. And I think it's part of our global awareness. So I've worked over in Asia for about 7 years. Mm-hmm. My mother is Mexican, and so I come with a little bit of background, with a little bit of an international focus. A lot of the people on our team as well. So we're very aware of the contribution that people outside of Silicon Valley and the United States are making to technology, and we're welcoming them here. Anyone who's coming outside of Silicon Valley needs a home. That's where we're home.
How long Runway has been running here?
3 years.
3 years.
So we've been here for 3 years.
You're relatively new.
Yeah.
In the field. Do you have names that was here, they started here and they achieved the success already in the market?
Yes.
Like what?
So one of the ones we're most proud of is called Skycatch. And so Skycatch has a drone company, and what they do is they have these drones that are able to see a work site, a construction site, how it's coming along. So for example, they're working with Apple's campus. And so the new infinity loop, the circle that Apple is building for their new campus in Cupertino, as it's under construction, they have these drones that are flying that are able to see how construction is coming along. And all that video is very apparent. And they've signed a deal with Komatsu as well, which is a heavy machinery manufacturer. They're doing quite well.
And the future of Runway, do you have like a strategy you're working on? Do you see it? Do you see Runway like 5 years from now? Is your success based on the startup success, or you have different ways to do it?
Absolutely. I mean, everything comes back to the success of the startups. If the startups are successful, we're going to be successful. Additionally, we're raising a fund to invest in these startups, so not just to help them, but actually, if we have equity in these startups, as they're successful, we'll be making money.
You're already investing, or you're raising a fund now?
We're raising it currently.
How it's going? Raising a fund, is it easy?
I would never say it's easy, but I think the value proposition for Runway is quite compelling. We have over 1,500 visitors come through here every month, over 200 entrepreneurs who come through. The current valuation of the Runway companies is about $600 million. It's a very rich environment to pick up on high quality investments.
Since many of our viewers are entrepreneurs, they have startups, definitely the key question is how they're going to reach out to you, how they're going to be with these guys here at Runway.
Yeah, so we have a website, runway.is, and we chose that domain because you can make neat things with it. So we say Runway is community, Runway is friendship, things like that. But runway.is, you can apply to join Runway, you can find out about what events we're having and get involved.
And it's easy to join your family?
Well, we're very selective.
Do they need a lot of stuff to apply on?
No, it's we really, if you have a presence on Crunchbase or AngelList or anything online, you can link to that. We really want to figure out if you're a good fit for us. We want to make it easy for you to start that dialogue. So you don't have to fill out long applications. You just get in contact with us and we'll ask the questions.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue at Runway. We go to where the event happens.
Absolutely.
And we have a lot of events here.
Well, all the time, almost every day.
All the time.
Yeah, all the time.
So this is the space where you do your events, maybe for Runway, maybe for your partners.
Yes. So we have a number of events, 3 to 4 nights a week we'll have events. And these events can be virtual reality events, they can be augmented reality, they can be EdTech events. So we host one of the biggest augmented reality meetup groups that's in Silicon Valley. We have folks who come in that are interested in the education space. And we'll host administrators of these higher institutions. A last event that we had the CIO from San Francisco State University, and we have best-selling authors who have come in, and VCs who come in. So we try to create a rich environment for the members of our community.
I've been to a couple of international events as well, related to the Middle East, or to Europe, to the Emirates.
Yes. So we worked with the Emirates Airlines last year in November, and we held a hackathon for them. And we are fortunate that we get to work with a partner like them. They stayed overnight for a couple of nights. We had, I think, somewhere around 30 teams that came up with a product which they demoed, and we had a lot of great ideas come out.
And I've been here for like MIT, Enterprise Forum, Pan Arab, Quad as well. So different international Middle Eastern events happen. One of your landmark here at Runway, the Igloo. What's the story behind the Igloo?
Yeah, we love the Igloo here at Runway as it's a symbol of Runway. So if you notice, it's an open space, right? And just like Runway itself. So it's a meeting room, you can have a meeting, but there's no door on it. You're still part of the community. And that's very special to what we are doing at Runway. And then the other thing is you'll notice it's made up of a bunch of pieces. And each of these pieces comes together, right? And as these pieces come together is this wonderful structure that's very innovative and very inspirational. And we think that's a symbol of Runway as well.
Absolutely, and it's good for us because we have it like a ready-made drop off our studio.
Of course, yes.
To film in.
Fantastic.
How did you come up to be here? What is your background? We'd like to know more about you.
So before this, I was in venture capital, so I was doing early stage investing. All my investing background has been in early stage, and that's why I feel quite excited to be here as we're supporting early stage companies. Before that, I was an entrepreneur. I joined some other guys in starting up a natural language processing company that was doing semantic analysis of long-form text content. And I was not the technical guy, but I joined them. And before that, I actually was in charge of the finances for this organization called Room to Read, which built schools and libraries around the world. And that was a startup. So even though it wasn't a technical company, when we started up, we were a very small team. And as we grew, we had, and I left, we had built about 8,000 libraries around the world, about 200 schools, and we're operational in about 13 different countries.
Very interesting. So you know the whole story, the whole ecosystem of the startup, and you're in the right place, I guess.
I hope so. Yeah.
Thanks a lot for having us here at Runway.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Place. One more time for people to get in touch with you.
Yes, runway.is. You find all the information about how to get in touch with us.
Manager Director of Runway, Matt Walters, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure meeting you.
Pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you.
بعد الفاصل في iTech. Sigfox شبكة خاصة بإنترنت الأشياء وبتكلفة أقل. Sigfox شبكة خاصة بإنترنت الأشياء وبتكلفة أقل.
IoT Internet of Things أو إنترنت الأشياء، وهذه الأشياء المتصلة بشبكة الإنترنت بالإجمال تتصل من خلال شبكات الخلوي العادية اللي بنستخدمها للهواتف الخلوية. لكن قدرة شبكات الخلوي أكبر من الحاجة لإنترنت الأشياء، لهالسبب يتم إنشاء شبكات خاصة تعتني بإنترنت الأشياء وبالأشياء التي تكون متصلة بالإنترنت. سيجفوكس شركة فرنسية تنتشر عالمياً وهنا في أمريكا أيضاً تقدم شبكات خاصة بإنترنت الأشياء. نتعرف كيف تعمل هذه الشبكات مع سيجفوكس.
What Sigfox is, it is a network, a cellular network for the Internet of Things. So you can think of us as an AT&T for the objects. And so we roll out those kind of antennas on rooftops and towers all across the world. And we sell subscriptions. That's going to go from about $1 per device per year to $10 per device per year to connect to our network.
Mm-hmm. So it's a network similar to the cell network, but it's not a cell network.
Exactly, it's really complementary. You have to see it this way. What traditional machine-to-machine needs is actually machine-to-machine is machines that are connected to the power, that are high-value assets, and so you need a connectivity, a cellular connectivity that can provide like real-time data, live streaming data. But the Internet of Things is about objects that are very little value, that are battery powered, and so you need a connectivity solution that is very low cost and low power. And so basically in 2 words, we're 10 times cheaper than cellular networks and about 100 times less power consuming than cellular networks. We deploy a network all over the world. We have a strategy of partnering with local network operators to deploy the Sigfox network. This is how we do it in most countries, except for 3 key strategic countries, France, US, and Germany.
Is there any specific reason?
Well, France, because historically it's a French company, so we had to demonstrate the value of our network and the purpose of our network, so we had to do it ourselves. We couldn't convince a partner to roll it out at the time. The US and Germany, for a very simple reason, those are key markets where time to market is very important, and we had a hard time identifying the partners because they're slow moving. The traditional network operators are slow moving, don't want to take risks. So we decided to go ourselves to deploy those countries. But after we have, UK, Ireland, Spain, Portugal, Italy, New Zealand, Australia, all those countries are actually being deployed or already deployed with network operators, tower companies, partners that understand the value of the network and the purpose of it and move fast. So we're really a B2B2C company. So if we take the example of this product, which is a smoke detector, basically this company, Smokeo, basically sells a smoke detector that is connected through Sigfox. The consumer knows it's connected through Sigfox to the fire department, but he doesn't really pay anything to Sigfox directly. He pays everything to Smokeo, who then pays us for the subscriptions.
These are examples of devices that they work on Sigfox.
Correct.
You talked about this one, smoke detector.
Correct.
What are the others?
So let's start on the smart city side. You have this device that is basically a little hub on which you can put several different types of sensors. Use cases are around like air quality monitoring, vegetation, moisture measurements, sewage system measurements, and all those this box will then communicate through Sigfox, provide a very long battery lifetime, and send message about the sensors in the field. Then we have this sort of devices that is, and actually this is a big use cases around like all the sewage system. This measures the level of water in the sewage system and sends it through Sigfox. And I don't know if you heard about the recent flood in Houston, but this is typically the use cases that we're trying to target. Battery powered devices, and you want to measure how the sewage is working in a flooding situation. Here you have a little water meter device, so it goes on top of an existing water meter, and it sends the data of your consumption through Sigfox. It can detect leaks as well. That's a little tracking device, so it has a lifetime of 7 years. You stick it wherever you want. It's actually called stick and track. So you stick it in, tracks whatever you want for 7 years. Here you have a little, so that's for the oil and gas industry. This monitors a valve system, and you can control the valve system of a pipe in the oil and gas industry. This is probably it's an interesting use case because I believe that a lot of use cases and a lot of devices will just be about a button that will trigger something, a button in the real world life that will trigger something in the digital life. So that, for example, you can trigger this button, it's going to have an operator call someone back. You can also have buttons like that that will allow you to order a cab, ask for the postman to come and pick up your mail, services like that. And well, those devices are more like development kits. So that's one of our leader module vendors called Telecom Design. So that's a little development kit. And this is produced by Atmel, so the same company as the controller for Arduino, who have designed a very user-friendly module for Sigfox.
What's the difference in the technology between a Sigfox network and the cell network?
The cellular devices need licensed spectrum to work. If you want to be low cost, you cannot buy a licensed spectrum at a couple $1 billion at least. Another key technical difference is that if you want a low cost subscription, so low cost network, the only way is to have very light equipment to install. So you can see what we're installing. That costs like 10 to 20 times less expensive than a cellular network. And after, in terms of range, also to have very low cost network, you need a very long range. And basically we have a range that is 10 times longer than cellular. So we need 10 times less base stations.
The range is more than cellular.
Yeah, and we need 10 times less base stations than cellular networks. So that's how we achieve those so low cost actually.
What about the interference in your network? Is there any interference?
So it's a very good question because since we are in unlicensed spectrum, we have to coexist with other networks, other radio elements in the spectrum. There's two answers to this question. One of it is the fact that by essence our protocol is very, very resistant to interference. The concept, we're using ultra narrowband, so a very, very small signal. And so we concentrate all the power in a very small channel.
Okay.
So we can hear it from very far, even if it's interfered. So that's one thing. The second part of the answer is that this is something we monitor. Each base station, we know exactly what sort of level of interference we have. And it's sort of, you can say it part of the business model. We include this in our coverage map, and it's going to shrink the coverage map a bit. But this is something that we understand, that we master, and that we actually improve because we can update over the air our base station to make them more resistant to interference.
Do you cover the shore and offshore?
So we put base station to cover, generally speaking, the population. Our goal when we say a country is covered is that we have 80% of the population covered in indoor. The thing is that all the base stations that's going to be on the shore will also cover offshore, and we have use cases offshore like oil and gas platform, like fish farming, like ocean study research, or actually boat tracking, which is it's a big use case.
So where you put the antennas, where your antennas will go?
So we have those contracts with those tower companies, and those tower companies, they install big towers, they have rooftops, and we lease space on those towers or rooftops.
Mm-hmm. In terms of capacity of the network, like if you're comparing again to the cell network, the provider, they know how many devices they have in the market and how many devices the network can afford.
Yeah.
So can you control how many devices you have on Sigfox, and is the capacity really high, because we are in a world of IoT and the future is for IoT, as everybody knows.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
How do you upgrade your network? How it goes?
So it's something that we monitor very closely, and what you have to understand is that obviously this is one thing that has been thought since the beginning, and this is why we're using a technology that is called ultra narrowband. So very, very small signal on the spectrum, so we can put plenty of little signals on the spectrum. An antenna like that can handle about a couple million devices in its own cell. So each antenna can handle about 2 million devices in this cell.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tufik.
You're most welcome. Your website for the people that want to know more.
So www.sigfox.com, and you'll see a lot about our coverage map, our partners ecosystem, so you can see what devices are available in the market, and a lot of information on our website.
شاهدنا معا في iTech حاضنة رانواي بسان فرانسيسكو لشركات ناشئة عالمية. سيجفوكس، شبكة خاصة بإنترنت الأشياء وبتكلفة أقل. لمتابعة فقرات هذه الحلقة في أي وقت تابعوا iTech على youtube.com/الحرة iTech وiTech Show على فيسبوك وتويتر.